Hi, good morning. Thank you, Michael, for the introduction. That's better than the last one I got, which was where I was called a spanner by Jenny Wilson, who was the chair of the IPS when she introduced me. As he says, Paul Chivers, I head up the PPE reuse and innovation team. I'm going to talk to you today about the background of the team, where we are, where we came from, why we were formed. A bit about today's question, a couple of pictures of myself, not great pictures, but there we go, we'll see how it's received. What the achievements of the team have been over the last 2 years, what our challenges are now and going forwards, next steps, and then, as Anna says, we'll do some question and answers. So a little bit about the background. Back in 2020, Emily Lawson, who was the Chief Operating Officer for NHS, she commissioned a deep dive that was done by Deloitte into why there isn't innovation in PPE, why there aren't newcomers, why there aren't new products. That identified a number of issues, things like supply chain currently let 2, 3 and 4 year frameworks. When a framework's let, that's it. You can't get in, you can't become a new supplier until they retender those frameworks. If there's new products out there, people might have great ideas, but some of them are confused as to whether it's a medical device or whether it's PPE. I'm not saying we've clarified that. Some of the things we've done recently confuse it even more, but they also had nowhere to go for advice and guidance. You can't go to the MHRA and you can't go to the Health and Safety Exec for guidance because they are the regulators. So they monitor the marketplace, and if there's an issue with products, then they're the people that take them to task. So if they've given you advice, they're likely to be marking their own homework. Then also we had the PPE strategy in 2020, which was more about nearshore, onshore resilience, and also reusable PPE. That coincided with the net zero. Now, net zero, obviously, a net zero target by 2040, 2045. However, if you look into that net zero report, by 2028, which is actually 5 years away, we're supposed to be well on our way to an 80% reduction. We may be, but I haven't seen sort of real evidence that we are, but that's just my opinion. And so based on that, Emily formed the Reusable Innovation and Sustainability team for PPE, which was a team of 9 of us. So today's question, is reusable PPE affordable, professional and sustainable? So on the left there, you will see a single-use plastic apron, a single-use Type 2R mask, and a single-use visor. Gloves would be in both pictures. I just didn't bother putting the gloves on at the time. Also on the picture on the left there, my glasses had steamed up at the point of taking that as well. Not only does it make me look portly, all of that contributes to the plastic waste, as you see there, 118 grams. Now, if you accept there are about 2 million people working across health and care, so every time that 2 million people put one of those outfits on, it's 236 tons of waste. So that's 6 Arctics pulling up to take your waste away when they wear it once. Most people don't wear it once in a day. They put a lot of those aprons on, they put a lot of those masks on, and the visors are supposed to be single-use as well. And obviously the gloves are on and off, normally at the same rate that aprons are. If you look on the other side, that's a reusable apron that can be laundered 75 times. That's a reusable Type 2R mask that can be laundered 40 times. And that's reusable eye protection with clip-in prescription lenses that can last up to 2 years. There's no waste against the glasses, the Type 2R, and the reuse. And the reason for that is the manufacturers will take it away and they will recycle those products back into other products. And then obviously there is the waste of the gloves, but we'll come on to gloves in a bit. So what have we achieved? Under the guise of the Reduce, Reuse, Recycle from Sustainability, we've created a glove MOOC. For those that don't know what a MOOC is, it is a massive open online course. We didn't create that acronym, it was already in existence. It is a recognized acronym. It started life as a 4-hour course on gloves. And I said, you cannot possibly put a 4-hour course about gloves. There is nobody going to go through that. What are you saying about gloves for 4 hours? So it's now a 1-hour, it's got 3 modules, it's got one on hand hygiene, it's got one on sustainability, and it's got one on when you should and shouldn't wear gloves. And it's based on Great Ormond Street work. So back in 2017, 2018, Great Ormond Street reduced their inappropriate use of gloves by 33%. 33% of our glove usage is massive. Across health and care, we're currently getting through somewhere in the region of 7 billion gloves a year, right? Of which, all imported from the Far East, lots of issues with modern-day slavery, lots of issues of pollution, and also the amount of waste that this generates. So you can see there that if all users in health and care reduce by 15%, remembering that Great Ormond Street achieved 33% before a pandemic. Since the pandemic, I'd challenge that people are probably wearing gloves even more now than they were then. So if you only achieve 15%, it's £24 million a year savings, 4,700 tonnes of waste, and then the carbon of 27,000. If actually we had a little bit more force and a bit more rigour and a bit more appetite to do that and try and drive to 30%, you can all do the maths and double that up. It's £48 million, it's 54,000 tonnes of carbon, and it's obviously 9,500 tonnes of waste. That's a lot, yeah? And it's year on year this is happening. And at the moment, I know that the Royal College of Nursing, I work quite closely with Rose Gallagher, they've been doing Glove Awareness Week for years. Yeah, we are struggling to make a dent in inappropriate use of gloves. So anybody that wants to sign up to that can. It is available to health, care, independent sector, anybody. We've got people in Hungary using it. We've got people in Australia using it. It's free. All you have to do is sign up and then start using it. There will be posters and things on there. It's not like your annual mandatory training of death by PowerPoint. There's quite nice little narrations and sketches, and there's videos on it and everything else. And it's got really positive feedback. Currently, 2,000 people have signed up to it since it went live in August. And then we look at the glove dispenser pilot that we're doing. So we're looking at 2 sites to pilot a glove dispenser. This glove dispenser is made by only one company currently. It guarantees one glove comes out, cuff first, you pull it down, you put the glove on, pull it down, you put the glove on. What you don't do is pull a glove out, bend over, pick the side back up, and chuck them in a bin, right? It's claimed it will give you 10% reduction in waste. Well, the reason we want to pilot is to prove that and quantify it. So we do 3 months of what usage is in a department now. We put the glove dispensers in. They give us the free dispensers. They give us the free gloves. We then monitor that for 3 months, and we want to validate. Because, again, if we could get those dispensers across more manufacturers, we can't put all our eggs in one basket and only have one glove manufacturer. But what we could do is drive other manufacturers to better dispensers. That would generate £16 million, and again, another 3,000 tonnes reduction in waste, yep, and 18,000 tonnes of carbon. So collectively, there are a lot of benefits in trying to get rid of glove waste. Other achievements. So in the reuse market, as I said, I showed you the mask earlier, the reusable Type 2R. That is currently being piloted at the Royal Devon in Exeter, and that pilot is due to come to an end this month. I say due to, we need to get 60 masks that have been laundered 40 times, and then they will go back to a test house. That's not to prove anything. They are already safe. They have been to test houses and been proven. What we want to see is how they perform after 40 real-life uses. So that's donning, doffing, in a receptacle, to the laundry, out of the laundry, in the dryer, out of the dryer, into the dispenser insert, back to the dispenser, etc. So the findings from that will just confirm the fact that, yes, they are safe. We've got the logistics in place that they have been through thermal decontamination. Launderable masks cannot be washed at home. So the other thing we have to do is to try and educate and inform people, please don't take them home. They are not laundry, they're not uniform, they are medical devices. In agreement with MHRA, they have to be laundered through a compliant process. Then we've got reusable eye protection. We've got a company now, it's an international company, they're working with us and they are making reusable eye protection. You can tell me now there's reusable eye protection out there, and they've come to several meetings with us, and all the feedback was, yeah, they're all very nice, they've got nice little cutouts, nooks and crannies, they've got nice looking colours and things on them, and everybody from IPC went, ingress, build up of dirt, difficult to clean, we don't like them. So Bolle are making a very nice, very smooth, looks like smart cycling glasses that will be used then as reusable eye protection. They will go into a pilot, and then there will be hopefully a tender through supply chain, and those products will hopefully be the way forward. You can clip into them prescription lenses. You can also put seals on them to have aerosol generating protection, and they come with a head strap as well. It will be sized head straps, very different sizes, so that if you've got headscarves, if you've got a turban, if you've got big heads like me, you will get a strap that will fit you. There will be no adjusters on them. That makes it easier to clean as well. Those prototypes, we've seen 4 3D prototypes. The real prototype will be out at the end of the year, and then hopefully we can put a pilot together in the early part of next year. P3 decontamination guidance has been done. I won't take much credit for that, but we worked with Dr. Felicity Holmes and her decontamination team from Scotland. So they did a lot of testing on reusable P3 masks. Those that don't know what a reusable P3 mask is, I'd never do a presentation without putting something on. That's a reusable P3 mask. The problem with a reusable P3 mask is you can't hear me, right? So when people are talking through them and wearing them, they don't work very well. Also, the standards don't say they need to be clean to any specific standard. They also come in many guises. Right. That's a hideous look if you just come around from anaesthetic, if you're a mental health patient, or if you're a young child. Right? However, these are the only things available on the market that have been adapted and adopted for health and care. So what we're working on is trying to get products made for the health and care sector. So we've had a number of road shows where we go out and we get 13 suppliers and they come out, they're not allowed to sell anything, and we get about 80 people come and tell us what is wrong with our current PPE. We will anonymize that data, put it into a database, and share it with any supplier and manufacturer so they can go and design and make products for our health and care workers. All of those products are from heavy industry and construction. They're made for me, 5'11" white bloke. Right? They don't fit most of our user community. They're too heavy, they're too bulky, those silly filters get in the way. Most health and care workers are looking down. But we know that you can decontaminate them using the washer disinfectors, which is what Solicity's pilot and the P3 decontamination guidance proves. Most people will not have access to a washer disinfector. So what we're looking at on the next point is a decontamination catalogue. And that's part of the work that I've been doing with Michael, is in terms of ozone cabinets, UVC cabinets, hypochlorous acid, and other types of decontamination that could be used in different settings to decontaminate these products. However, my question to the health and safety exec every time I meet them, and I met them a couple of weeks ago as well, we need a health and care standard that says how clean a mask should be. Currently, you can put that mask on, you can wear it for 4 hours, you can sweat in it, there'll be saliva in it when you've been trying to shout and speak because nobody can hear you, and there'll be condensation in it. You can wipe it around with a nice little wet wipe, and then you can go 2 weeks holiday and come back, pick it back up and put it back on. There is a high risk something might have grown in there in 2 weeks. So what we're saying is we need standards that tell us how clean it needs to be, because for the builders, it doesn't matter. You bang out the dust filters and you just carry on. That's the same for the eye protection as well. On the recycle, reusable type 2Rs, as I say, they're taken away. That goes back to the earlier slide. There is no waste. Same with the eye protection and future products as well. We want manufacturers to start taking their own products away and reprocessing them into something else. So what are the potential benefits from some of the things that we're talking about there? A reusable type 2R, if we reduce single use by 80%, and I always put 80% because people will always say, yeah, but in that situation, I need to use a single use for this, that, and the other reason. That's fine. We don't have a problem with that. So if we did work on 80% reduction, you can see there that the tons of plastic that would be reduced. The pre-COVID is just in NHS, and that's based on 450 million a year. And also the 11,500 tons of carbon or the 3,600 tons. Similarly, going back to what we talked about, if we can reduce inappropriate use of gloves. Everybody tells me that when you pick up a glove, you'll pick up an apron. When you pick up an apron, you'll pick up a glove. They called it a marriage. All right? So if we can reduce inappropriate use of gloves, we should reduce inappropriate use of aprons. They're fairly rubbish and flimsy and all that anyway. So, but similarly, if you do need an apron, use a reusable one. It can be laundered 75 times. There is an aspiration that actually, if I see a patient in this bed and I've got that apron on, I could spray the front with hypochlorous acid, wipe it down with a cloth that can go in the laundry, and go to that patient and put no harm or risk to that patient. That might be a step too far for some at the moment, but if we just go to launderable first, and then we can see about more benefits further down the line. Visors, yeah, they're huge chunks of plastic. We've got a survey that showed that 2,800 people responded, most of them saying that actually the needle looks bent when you're looking through a visor. So if a nurse is coming at you with a visor on, you might just want to check whether that needle looks bent to her, because that's not a great advocate for using visors. The reusable eye protection would have much better lenses. Future developments that we're working on. You've heard my thoughts on the existing masks and things like that. So that is a prototype. That mask is being designed for military. We want to design it for health and care. For that, I need £30,000. Not only am I a temporary team, I'm a temporary team with no budget. So all this that we've done has been with no money. I have begged and borrowed, etc., and we're doing the same today. Funny enough, I've spoken to a man who might give me £30,000 today to buy 6 to 8 prototypes off a 3D printer to get health and care feedback on those masks so that we can then make them and they go into production, which is obviously very expensive. You don't want to produce something unless health and care workers say, yes, it's the right product and they like it. That whole blue panel that you can see on the front of there is a filter. One of the feedbacks on the existing masks is they get headaches. That's because you're breathing back in a lot of your own exhaled air. With a much larger panel like that, the Army are not going to put somebody with a backpack on and tell him to go running, and then he's going to go, I've got a headache, I can't go any further. So by having these masks, it would probably be more comfortable, they're more lightweight, there are no large protrusions to obscure your vision. We still need to get to the bottom of how we decontaminate and what level of decontamination is required. We are making progress and we're exploring those. But again, it would generate £5.5 million of savings in procurement and significant waste savings as well. We currently get through between 500,000 and 1 million FFP3s a week. Oh, sorry, at the bottom of there was also something about powered hoods. We are looking for powered hoods. We want to look at how they currently are used. Powered hoods are a difficult product to clean internally. Somebody approached me and they said, we've got the best powered hood on the market. I said, how do you clean it? He said, you wipe the outside down up to 200 times. And I said, how do you clean the inside? He said, you don't. There's no way am I standing in front of anybody saying, put this powered hood on. Half this room wore it yesterday and a couple of weeks ago, and the rest of you can wear it now. It's just not acceptable. So we need to work on ways that we can clean powered hoods. And not only the hood, but the tubes, the filtration and everything. We do believe we have ways of doing that. The HSE have been testing as well, and I'm waiting to see their results. So hopefully we can progress on that. So what are the challenges for my massive team of 2? Going forwards, we won't put any product into a pilot unless it's been independently verified that the claims by the manufacturer are substantiated. So if they say it's been tested, it's done this, it's done that, we go to independent people. Currently, we also did the transparent face mask specification, and we were working with suppliers. We've got 8 compliant transparent face masks. But we put those through people like what was the Technical Regulatory Assurance Team. They were disbanded in April, so we now use Surgical Materials Testing Laboratory in Wales. And they will validate and confirm whether a product is compliant and whether it meets the standards and specifications. That comes at a cost. They also have a capacity issue and a capability, and sometimes they have to outsource it. The cost currently is being borne by somebody else who's got a contract with them, and I just piggyback on the back of that with his knowledge, and he pays the bill, which is good. But it goes to my next point that going forward, if you want to drive sustainability and if you want to make innovative products and you want to improve things for health and care workers, it needs to be funded. I can only beg for so long, and people's sort of patience and money pots will run out. So it does need to have proper funding to enable prototypes and things to be done and paid for, as well as pilots. We need agreed evidence about what the cleaning and decontamination should look like. What should those standards be? There's the educational behavioural changes. I've talked about those reusable type 2R masks. If I put a pile of reusable masks up here now and told you they were laundered and I wore them yesterday and some other people, there's a split in this room of people that go, yeah, I'll wear it. Probably no different than pillowcases in hotels, etc. There's another lot that if you explain it's been through thermal decontamination at 68 degrees for 10 minutes or 71 degrees for 3 minutes in the same way that most of the laundry is, that's all fine. And there's another load that go, I am never wearing a mask someone else wore. But we need to start to educate and change and try and win people over. The example I'll give you is that most people that have been to a restaurant put a fork straight in your mouth and you have no idea whether that's all warm water, tepid water, or any water or a waiter's trouser leg. But it's all done. I'm not flippant about it. It is something that we need to try and win across. But yeah, it's not easy for some people to want to do that. In terms of infrastructure to safely manage, that's one of the reasons I was really pleased to be invited today. The infrastructure and the logistics of sustainable products is quite a problem. Not only do we not have many laundries, we also need to tag these products to say how many times they've been through reprocessing. So we've got RFID tagging. Nobody bought the licenses for this year, so that makes it kind of difficult. So in the pilots that we're doing, we've had to fund the licenses ourselves on those sites. We need to have wide-scale RFID tagging and scanning. A conversation we had at the Innovation Hub that I host every month on Tuesday, last Tuesday of the month, so we did one last week, is about the amount of waste. And in that waste is an awful lot of linen currently. There's a lot of linen going missing across trusts, etc. What we don't want to do is put a load of reusable products in and find that they're going in the waste as well. So perhaps we put RFID tags on the point at where it goes to waste, and then it sends an alert to say, actually, there are things in there that are tagged and probably shouldn't be in the waste. Not a great job. Somebody's got to go and find out why and open it, etc. But if you can then go to the point of why is it going in the waste and stop it there, you will never stop it further downstream. We need to ask the individuals why things are going in the waste, and it goes back to the education and behavioural. But we do need, as I say, on-site and near-site laundry, and we're working with people like the TSA and other laundry companies to stand up more localised laundry. Business as usual owners, the MOOC that is available, it's live, it's up and running, it needs to be kept updated. We host group sessions on it as well. There's chat down the side, which lots of people like. I have a team of 2. If one of them is constantly doing that, he can do no other work. I have reached out and I have asked far and wide for a business owner to take that on. We're currently still delivering it, which isn't sustainable. And then improved networks as well and communities. So reaching out to people like yourselves and others to either fund, to help, or to work with us about getting recognised and approved levels of cleaning, alternatives to decontamination, etc. What are the next steps? First next step is to identify who I hand over to. Not only am I not budgeted, but come 31st of March, I'm out of a job. So are my team. The supply chain hosted us temporarily from the 1st of April, funded by DHSC. That funding comes to an end. We are currently actively, more actively than some would like, reaching out to try and find a new home for that team to see if we can get funding to continue to work. The 3 of us believe it's worth doing. We believe there are some strong benefits that come out of it. We just need to convince others of that at the moment. Failing that, if anybody in the room goes, oh, that all sounds quite interesting, we'll take some of that on, ping me an email afterwards, and I'll quite happily be working on a handover document as well, just in case we don't get a stay of execution. We want to confirm the test scripts for the decontamination using ozone, UVC, and hypochlorous, and that's working with like MHRA, UKHSA, and HSE, who we have really good relationships with. We want to pilot the reusable eye protection using ozone and UVC in 2 different sites. Develop reusable transparent masks. As I said, we have developed the transparent mask specification that is available on the gov.uk website. They are all single-use at the moment, the products that are there are 8 of them that are compliant. That's not sustainable, but we thought it was the quickest way to get product to market. However, we are now working with a couple of companies to try and get reusable products. Develop P3 respirators for health and care settings. We've touched on that a few times and explained the reasons why. The suite of approved decontamination, we need to get to a point where we can say to people in the different settings, this is how you can decontaminate as well. The Innovation Hub and roadshows, as I say, every month we have a 1.5-hour Innovation Hub, and we also have roadshows that are out and about. Anybody wants an invite to the Innovation Hub where we share ideas and information, please let me know. Standards and specifications for health and care settings we've touched on, and we continue to build on those networks with those like I say, MHRA, suppliers, manufacturers, and many others. Thank you. Apologies for whistle stopping that. I got a red light at the back of the room. There's a summary of what we've achieved and what one product could benefit from.